Hey everyone, I am your astrologer, Wonder Girl, taking you to new heights. And today, what I'm going to talk about is going to be a lot of Saturn direct. I'm going to talk to you about what that means, since that happened today, a few other things going on in the astrology. I'm going to talk to you about the month of September as well. Just kind of, whatever comes to mind. And I'm also going to talk to you too about my life, to give you some updates about what's going on. I got an email this morning from someone who contacted me. Sorry, the lawnmowers are going. This always happens to me whenever I film. This is part of the reason why I've been wanting to move for so long, because every time I turn on the camera, I swear there's something that happens outside the lawn. There's like someone honking their horn, kids walking by. But I'm just gonna go with it. There was someone that emailed me early this morning and was just like, "You're throwing your business away. We haven't heard from you in so long, and we all care about you and think you're awesome, and you need to come back." And so I was like, all right, I might as well just film something, of course, with Saturn direct, Mars direct, a new moon coming soon. So that's what I'm doing here today, just to give you a little bit of an update of what's going on with me. I'll start there first and then go into the astrology. As for what's going on with me, thank you all so much for being patient. If any of you are worried about whether or not I am going to do astrology long term, don't be. Astrology is a part of the long term picture with me. I do plan on keeping that going, even if right now things are not where I want them to be, doing them as regularly with me. So please do hang in there. Even though I'm not present on my channel in the way that I want to be right now, I guarantee you I will be back regularly and consistently by probably starting in October. What I've been doing the past few months is really just trying to, just take a break really, and to get right with myself, to figure things out with myself emotionally, personally, with my business. To rearrange things in a way that I feel much better about, especially while Mars was retrograde on the South Node. Like, it was really frustrating time for me, I think, just feeling like things weren't really moving forward. So I think I needed that time out to get in touch with myself. I did go home, I did visit family, I did go on a trip to Florida to hang out with my aunt, and just kind of been trying to take care of my acne, which is doing a lot better now. Take showers more frequently, eat a little bit better. Maybe I've been succeeding on that, and do some other things. What I have decided is that I am going to move back home to Atlanta. That's where I'm from originally. So I am going to move there. I'm planning on moving there October 1st. I'm gonna take a road trip. I'm excited about that, across the country, from Utah, which is where I live now, back to Georgia, and I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna live with my mom for about 3 months, I believe, and then in January or February figure out what I want to do next, whether that's move to another state, whether that's buy a home in Atlanta or just get an apartment there. So that's what I'm doing. I think, unfortunately, I will have my apartment still here in Salt Lake till the end of the year, but I'm very thankful that I will be able to live with my mom and have her support, love, assistance in the meantime. Okay, so I think that's the plan. Anything else I want to mention in regards to that? Yeah, I'm just gonna set up shop there. What else? I feel like there's something else I wanted to say in regards to me moving home. Yeah, I think it'll just be nice to have the support of my family, to be around more people. I think that was one thing I was not expecting when I quit my job, that a lot of my friends and my people that I talked to were associates, people that I worked with, and when I quit my job, I didn't really have as much people to talk to anymore. That was making me very lonely. So I'm excited that I will be able to be there with my mom. Of course, my sister lives there too, my beautiful niece, and so I'll be able to hang out more with them, to be less lonely and to have their support, with a lot of healthy habits that I'm hoping to cultivate more of. So we'll see what's going on there. If y'all are in the Atlanta area, please hit me up. I think that's my big thing about whether or not I want to stay in Atlanta, is there really a group of people for me that I feel like I can fit in with? The last time I was in Georgia, I was in college. I went to the University of Georgia, and a lot of my friends were in the fraternity and sorority scene, and a lot of drinking, alcohol, some drugs. Not really what I'm into. I wasn't into it then, not really into it now. So I'm just looking for other friends who are spiritually aware. And if some of you are connected to a spiritual community, an astrology community in Atlanta, please hit me up and let me know. Also, if any of you do know of any good places to live there, studio apartments, 1-bedroom apartments as well, shoot those my way in the Atlanta area, and maybe maybe I can look into those. So that's what's going on. Anything else I want to update you on? yeah, my business. Another reason why I haven't come back too is because a big thing for me has been my business. I don't want to come back into the same routines, doing the same old things that have worn me out beforehand with my astrology stuff. Even though I think the people are a big part, like I think having my mom around, having some of my friends from high school and college around will be really good for me. I think that my business was also a big part of the question. I think for me especially, some of you all have known, I've been wanting to start a subscription service where I talk about business and politics, specifically for entrepreneurs, business owners, kind of the same thing, and people who are just interested in American politics. And so another part of me was like, I cannot come back until I figure that subscription service out, until I get it started, because if I don't do that, then I'm going to feel like I'm not living my purpose. I'm not doing what I ultimately want to do. So I think that's been another reason why I haven't come back. So I've also been working on that, getting all the branding for it, setting everything up. So when I do come back full time, hopefully after October, after I get settled, after I move, then I can launch that the same time I come back more consistently with my videos, and people can sign up for that. I can start doing that thing. Also, as well, I've had a lot of requests from some of you for teaching astrology. So I think I also want to start a classes, more or less, where I teach astrology, but it's not going to be traditional like classes in, here's week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and here's what we're talking about, and here's the tests. It's going to be, again, another subscription service, constant learning, where every month I'm going to have some kind of new module, worksheet as well, about some kind of astrology topic that we can all discuss. And of course I'll do office hours every month as well, where you can see me and talk to me too. So I think that's another thing that I'm thinking about, just because to me learning astrology is a constant thing. We're always learning. It's not like all of a sudden I'm going to learn astrology and then never learn astrology again. I think it constantly evolves, so that's why I wanted to do it as more of a subscription service over time. All right, so I've got that going on. Also, personal readings. Personal readings are fine to do, but for some reason I get really nervous about doing them. I think a big part of that is because, there's so much to cover in astrology in someone's chart, and there's so many things that can go in so many different ways, that to me it just does it's just an injustice to only spend 1 hour talking about like the hundreds of things that could be going on and the many ways in which they can manifest. So I think what I might do, and I think that stresses me out. So I think what I might do with my readings is maybe I'll only start to take a few a month. Maybe I'll take 5 to 8 readings a month. The first 5 to 8 people that sign up, I'll do readings with, and then it'll be closed until the next month, so that I can spend more of my time really focusing on my subscription services, on teaching astrology, on business content and news content, and of course on all of my free horoscopes for you instead. I may also try to limit some of my personal readings as well to more of being in a personal astrologer. So it's not just one reading for an hour, you're done, but it'll be more of us working long-term over time, where we'll keep coming back, we'll talk about different things, and it'll be a little bit more of a coaching aspect with astrology on what's going on in your life and how to look at your life in different ways as well. So I think that's how I want to start to shift my business, that I've needed this time for the past few weeks, is to figure out what do I want, what do I need in order to be happier, both personally and professionally. I think personally, I need people, I need relationships, I need more people in my life, I need the right people for me at this time. So I think moving home is going to help me with that. Also, as well as just cleaning out a whole bunch of junk from the past few years of my life that no longer serve who I am now. So I think that's been important. As well, since as I'm moving, I'm like getting rid of tons of stuff that I own. And I think another part of it too is just pivoting my business into a direction that I feel resonates more with me, which includes I want to do more, provide more content and do less personal consultations. I want the content to be about business, politics, and teaching. And I want some of my personal consultations to be more in depth, more detailed with people that I get to know over a period of time. So that's the way I'm changing things. And in the next month or so, I think once I get settled in October, you're going to see me start to announce and roll out more of those things to you and update my channel more frequently. Also, as well, I've been focusing on my health. I'm doing a little bit better. I still have like a few more pounds I want to lose. I've got like 5 more pounds I think I want to lose. And yeah, and my acne, but my acne is going away for the most part, which is great. I've been trying like Proactive and of course trying to eat better, and then I've been trying the past few days to change up my makeup a little bit so that hopefully it won't break me out anymore if that was part of the issue. So I think we're doing well there. And I think that's what I'll update you on. Now what I'll do is I'll spend the next 10 minutes of this video going into the astrology and talking about Saturn. Just to give you a point of reference, I'm going to talk a lot about Saturn here going direct in Capricorn, but maybe what I want to do is take a step back and go bigger and talk here about Leo, especially with the moon being in Leo today as I'm filming this, as Saturn's going direct, especially because we did have a solar eclipse in Leo at the very end of last month too. And I think what I want to talk about before I get into Saturn going direct is really all about that eclipse, because eclipses are huge. They only happen like, what, once every 6 months. They don't always happen in the same signs, and they kind of stay with us for a while. And I think what this eclipse in Leo was all about, the end of, was it the end of August? Where are we now? What month? Yeah, the end of August, was a lot about your heart. Figuring out what your heart wants, what your heart needs in order to be happy. Trying to figure out how you can bring more of the passion, more of the love, maybe even some of the romance with Leo involved back into your life. I think that's what we were really trying to figure out, okay? Which really resonates with me. I'm trying to figure out what I need to be happier in life, with my business, with everything. Okay, and I think what we were doing is, as we were figuring out what really truly made us happy in life, we realized that maybe we had to see a different future for ourselves in light of what our heart really wants. That maybe we had to change our career, change our reputation, change some big structures in our life so that we could let more of our heart in. And maybe that was a little hard for us, you know? It's hard to tear down old structures. It's hard to tear down old things that you thought you wanted, an old vision of where you saw your life going. But I think the solar eclipse in Leo, which came after a lunar eclipse in Aquarius, was really saying that in order for us to have a life we really want, a life we really enjoy, a life that really makes us happy, we need to let go of all our ideas, of all our expectations of what we thought life should be, and of how we thought we should live life. And we need to let go of all these other old structures that we have built in our life that no longer resonate with us anymore, so that we can move in this other direction, okay? And I think that's kind of where Saturn direct, to me, if I'm thinking more about long term, picks up. Is Saturn direct is now saying, especially while some of these other things are going on, now that you have hopefully figured out at the lunar eclipse, solar eclipse in Leo, it's the L's, I want to say lunar Leo, after the solar eclipse in Leo, Saturn direct is saying, now that you know what your heart wants, or hopefully know what your heart wants, what you need to bring the passion back more into your life, now you got to act on those things. Now you got to do those things that you need to be happy. Now you need to build new structures in your life in order to support what your heart really wants. You know, you can't just say, oh, well, this makes me happy. I really want to do this. I really like this, and then never do it again, and then never do anything about it, you know? The theme that I had come up with for this month, I was going to do a monthly webinar or a free monthly video on Facebook or YouTube for you about this month, but I just didn't get around to it. But the theme I came up with for this month is called Love Does. Love Does. Especially with the lunar eclipse being in, the solar eclipse being in Leo, the sign of love, and Mars being in Capricorn, Saturn being in Capricorn, the Sun being in Virgo, all about doing things very practically, okay? And I think what's going on here is we have to take our passions, the things that we love, we have to commit to them. With Saturn going direct, we have to commit to building on them and to working towards them in new and different ways than we have before, even if it's different than what we've done before, to make these things manifest. A way I like to think of it is if you've got someone that you really like, that you're dating, and all of a sudden you're like, I really like this person, but they don't call me back, they don't return my calls, they don't tell me they like me, they don't take me out to dinner, we never see each other, and it's kind of like, do you really love that person or not if your actions don't back up your feeling? So I think that to me is kind of like where we are right now in the astrology, where it's like, I like you, I have this thing I really like, but can we actually take can you actually take this thing that's really close to your heart and make it into something that can really last, that you can really commit to, that's bigger and better than the seed that it just now has started out as, okay? And I think we're trying to move in that direction. And I think it's super important that we got this right at the solar eclipse in Leo, what our heart wants, because we're about to have so many planets here in Earth energy out of fire and really out of air too, which is going to bring our passion down big time, So I think what's going on a lot in the astrology is saying you need to figure out what your heart really wants so that that passion and that love can sustain you through the next month or so, when we're going to have no planets in fire, few planets in air, and when it's going to be all about building on these passions and these things that you like and committing to that, okay? So I think that was just a long and confusing way of saying it's not just about figuring out what your heart wants. You got to do it, because if you don't really do the things that you know you need in your heart to feel happy about life, then how much do you really like them? How much do you really care about them? How much do you really want them? And figuring all of that out. All right, so that's where we are. Capricorn, Saturn going direct, saying, okay, now you got to commit to building these things in your life that you love. You got to go all in on them. These things as well could have been related a lot to the beginning of this year, when Saturn first moved into Capricorn, because you have to remember Saturn moved into Capricorn in December of last year. It came to about, what, 7 degrees? Capricorn, I don't even know if it got that far, and then it went retrograde again. And so it's like we got on this Capricorn journey, this new journey, this big chapter change in our life in between, what, December and February last year into this year, and we're like moving forward, and then all of a sudden February comes, Saturn goes retrograde right around that time, and it's like, oh crap, I can't go forward anymore. I thought I was going in this one direction, but now I need to redo things, I need to revisit things, I need to go back to the past to retrieve some things with my heart, to figure some things out, to get right with my heart before moving on again. And I think Saturn now going direct here in Capricorn is finally helping you to say, okay, now you can go ahead on some of those things you thought you were going to do at the beginning of this year, but that you couldn't or didn't, because now you have the information that you were missing, and now you can pick up where you left off, hopefully in a better way, doing things different, putting your life in a direction now that really resonates more with your heart. So I think that's kind of where we are. All right, Mercury here in Virgo, in a place it loves to be in. You have to remember Mercury is at home and at exaltation in Virgo, so it really loves this spot a lot. Also helping you to come up with the strategies, come up with the plans, have the conversations that you need to think more practically and more realistically about some of the things that it is that you hope to accomplish as you move forward. So I really do like a lot of this. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't see too many bad things going on per se in the chart right now. I mean, other than Venus, which we can talk about in a second, but I do think there's a lot of support saying, okay, these things that were stalled that at the beginning of the year, it's time for you to pick up on them, and hopefully now you know more of what your heart wants, and you can lead your life more from a heart-based perspective instead of out of a sense of duty, instead of out of a sense of responsibility. Now you can bring the love that was missing earlier this year back into your life to make things manifest. And Mercury here in Virgo is going to help you figure out how you need to do it and what you need to do. It's going to help you have the right conversations. It's going to help you commit with the trine Mercury's making to Saturn, commit to some things that you need in order to put your life in the place that you want, in order to work towards it in a practical way. Okay, Mercury in the trine to Uranus could bring some unexpected things. You may have to have a very different daily routine. You may have to use very different talents. You may have to think of yourself as an individual in very different ways. But I do think with the trine, it's going to be positive if you allow yourself to reconceptualize yourself so that you can focus on having a better set of daily routines that can put yourself in some new, different, better direction based on something you started at the beginning of this year that really resonates with your heart. So I think there's a lot of that going on, and I think that's very, very pretty. I think there is a lot of help for you to start to get more of a handle on your life and figure out what you need to do, where you need to go, and how you can do it from a better perspective. The problem a little bit though is Venus. I'm not going to lie. Venus is in a square with Mars. So there could be a lot going on with relationships, a lot going on with money, a lot going on with the other people in our life. We could be a little bit aggressive here. Maybe we've been so frustrated the past few months. Things have been so slow. They haven't gone the way that we wanted. We could want to force things with people. We could be a little hot on the trigger. You know, are you good? Are you not good? It's been so long. Come on, come on. And I think needing to pace yourself a little bit with this aspect and to do the best that you can to bring all your different resources, all your different relationships together and to point them in the right direction. You know, the way that I want to see this alignment is like the "Are you going to put a ring on it or not?" kind of. The Beyonce song, "Put a ring on it," with like the Mars and Capricorn, you know, Capricorn's serious, committed, Venus and Libra is very relationship oriented. So I think it's like, if you're going to do things with your relationships, if you're going to do things with people at this time, I think you need to think seriously. I think you need to think more with integrity and not push things a little further or a little too fast than what they're meant to go at this time, especially with Venus stationing here. It's not stationing, but especially with Venus in shadow period about to go retrograde. I think if you're not careful with the stuff that you do now in relationships, you're going to have to deal with it the next few months. You're going to be reviewing some of that stuff, going back over it. So I think as you're getting ready to go to make things manifest, to put plans and strategies in place based on your heart, needing to be careful about how you use your money, how you use your time, how you use your resources, how you work with other people to get what you want, so that it doesn't come back to bite you in the end, and so that you're making valuable choices or valuable mistakes even instead of mistakes that are just going to make everything unravel later on. Okay. So that's what I want to talk about there. Venus also in an interesting spot too, because it's about to move into Scorpio, where it does not like to be. It's in fall or detriment in Scorpio, I believe. Sorry, my throat's acting up. But we've got Venus in Scorpio, and when it moves into Scorpio, it's going to oppose Uranus. So lots of unexpected things can happen with your relationships, with your money, with your value systems. I think as we're getting on some new journey to create something in our life that's different than anything that we've ever created before, that resonates more with our heart, and actually build a reputation off of this thing that resonates with our heart, I think we may be breaking free from relationships, breaking free from some old financial situations, trying to conceptualize ourselves totally different than we've ever seen ourselves before, to break some old habits with relationships, some old patterns here. And I think that could be the challenging thing, is letting all our relationships in on who we have now become, who we now are, and the starting point from which we want to build the rest of our life on, which should hopefully be from more of a heart-based perspective. And I think that could be the hard thing. And I think the message here, of course, is to not be afraid to build the life that you feel most free and most happy about. But of course, to be kind with others, to be patient with others, to think more seriously about what's going on here, and to let other people in on what you authentically desire, so that you can make sure that you're doing what you want and need. All right. I do think a lot of this is going on, especially with Saturn, Uranus. It's hugely about resetting the scores in our life. You know, it's like, maybe for the past few years we've been living life doing what we thought we needed to do. You know, this is what happens in life. You get married, you have kids, you work up in your career, you do XYZ. And I think with the North Node coming into Cancer, with the solar eclipse in Leo, it's saying forget the programming that you've been told for years, for centuries, for I don't know how long, about this is the way your life needs to be, okay? And focus here on your heart, on your emotions. What do you want your heart? What does your heart say? What do you want emotionally to feel better? And build from there. Start from that. And to me, this is the main perspective of the astrology right now. It's not continue along the path, business as usual, this is the way we've always done things, my life needs to go this way in order to be successful. It's no, forget the program, forget tradition, forget what you've been told. What does your heart want? Start there, build from that. Could upset people, could upset relationships, could upset your financial situations. You yourself could have to think of yourself totally different in order to do this thing. But I think if you're honest and open about what your heart desires, about what you see for your life, I think if you deal with things with integrity, if you're serious about what's going on, then in the end, this is a really big opportunity for you to start to build the life of your dreams, to start to build a life that really truly resonates with your heart than anything that you have ever done before, and to not give up and to keep going. I know the past few months have been hard and frustrating with Mars on the South Node, dealing with some things from the past, but we're going to come out of it. We're going to have a chance to move forward, to create a new existence, and to realize that it's right around the corner. All right. The sun, didn't mention this, and in opposition with Neptune could bring some confusion about your job, about your daily routines, about what you want. It could also bring some things from the past with Neptune and Pisces. Maybe there's still old routines, old things going on, but I think really needing to break the ties with the past, to see things more clearly and more realistically, and to make sure that the new plans that you're doing, that you're building to create this new life, are done with are done with inspiration, are done with intuition, are done with compassion, and to make sure that the new plans that you're creating to build a life from here on out have the right perspective on the past, have put the past in the proper place where you feel more comfortable about things that have occurred in your life and where you are using it to your advantage instead of running away from the old things that have happened to you. Okay, and I think we're trying to reset the scores. All right. Also, with a lot of these planets here, Saturn, Uranus, at the beginning degrees of their signs, Chiron. I mean, this is unusual to have these planets, especially so many slow-moving planets, at the beginning degrees of a sign. I do think a lot of it is like, okay, you're going on a new journey. You got to choose your journey. You got to choose your adventure. And you got to make sure that the choices that you're making from here on out are wise choices, are what you really want, are what really resonate with you, and aren't because of fears, aren't because of insecurities, aren't because of running away from an old life, but are because of you releasing yourself from old patterns, old ties, and old bonds so that you can create the new. All right, so maybe that's what I will leave for you today. I hope that was helpful. I'm just trying to free myself as well to just speak my own truth and whatever comes to my mind. So hopefully that was useful. Maybe I'll pull a card. Oh, I didn't even shuffle these. I'll just pull a card really quick on Saturn going direct and on this just a point in time. So I'm going to shuffle them down here for a second just because I feel like my table, to be honest, is a little crowded. But what I'll pull, Saturn direct. Ooh, the Three of Swords. Upright. This is the heartbreak card, but it's heartbreak that comes from clarity, you know? That's why I love this card, to be honest. It's like, sure, there may have been things in your life that did not work out in the way that you wanted them to work out, especially the past few months while Mars has been in the South Node, making things really upsetting and confusing and frustrating. And I think this card is saying if there's anything in your life that you wanted that did not work out for you, especially in the past few months since Saturn's gone retrograde, it's because there's a reason. It's because it was not meant for you. It's because there was information that you could not see that now you're receiving, or now you have received, that it's going to help you make better plans moving forward. Okay, this card to me is the sign of something didn't work out because it wasn't meant to work out for you. It wasn't for you. It wasn't what you were supposed to do. And I think this card is saying now that you know that the reason why, or now that you have more of an understanding of what went down, of why things had to happen, now you can start to build from a better place with more clarity, with more understanding. It may not be easy for you to move forward with this heartbreak card, the swords and the heart, but it's right for you. It's what you need, okay? I also love this card too with the heart, thinking of Leo as being the heart, the swords. Maybe this is Mercury in your Virgo right now. I do think a lot of it is saying here, if there's any heartbreak that you've experienced, I think it's almost like our heart, it's almost like we had to have our heart broken so that our heart could be open to new possibilities and new experiences that are meant for us. And I think it's time to get the right perspective on what's going on in your life, on what you really feel, so that you can start to use your experiences to your advantage to propel you forward and to free you up to do the things that you need at this time. All right, that's what I'll leave you with today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you later.